Here is something that sounds completely impossible. The best thing a mother ever did for her children was leave them. Not walk out, not disappear, not give up. Leave on purpose. With a kit bag, a set of dog tags, and a note on the fridge held up by a magnet shaped like a corgi. And years later, when her children were grown, when the arguments had quieted, and the tears had dried, and everyone had enough distance to be honest, her eldest daughter sat down at a kitchen table in a terraced house in Coventry, and she wrote her mum a letter. This is that letter. Dear Mum, I have been trying to write this for 3 years. I kept getting to the second paragraph and then going to make a cup of tea instead. You know me, classic avoidance. Classic you, actually. Her name is Sophie, Sophie Hargreaves. She is 31 years old now, with her mother's same stubborn jaw and a streak of gray in her dark brown hair that appeared, she says, the week her youngest started secondary school. She wrote this letter at the small kitchen table in the house she grew up in. The house her mother, Carol, bought before either of her children were born. A narrow terraced house on a quiet street in Coventry, with a back garden barely big enough for a rotary washing line, and a single determined rose bush that blooms every April whether anyone tends to it or not. Carol Hargreaves is 54. She has kind eyes, short red hair she keeps practical and close-cropped, and a habit of laughing before she finishes a sentence when she is nervous. She joined the British Army at 22. She was a mother of 2 by 28, and she was deployed overseas for the first time at 31. The same age Sophie is now, writing this letter. Sophie was 9 when Carol left the first time. Her brother, Daniel, was 6. He had gap-toothed smile and a Batman lunchbox, and absolutely no idea what was happening. Their grandmother, Nora, 73 and impossibly capable, moved into the front bedroom. She ran a tight ship. She fed them properly, got them to school on time, checked their homework, and absolutely did not tolerate any nonsense about staying up past 9 o'clock. Gran made fish fingers every Friday, Sophie wrote. She ironed everything, including tea towels, which I still think is excessive. We were loved, we were fed, we were fine. But there was always this particular shape of absence at the kitchen table. Mum, your chair. Nobody sat in it. The neighbors on the street, the ones who waved but never quite stopped to talk long enough to understand the situation, had opinions. Carol overheard one of them, a woman named Patricia, telling someone at the corner shop that it was a shame, really, that Carol had chosen the army over her children, that some women just were not cut out for motherhood. Carol never said anything back to Patricia. She is not that sort of person. She went home, put the kettle on, and stood at the kitchen window watching the gray Coventry sky do absolutely nothing interesting, which is what Coventry skis tend to do. The first deployment was 7 months. The second was 9. There was a third, briefer one, when Daniel was 12 and had just started growing taller than everyone expected, and Sophie had just discovered she was furious about everything, the way 14-year-olds often are. It was during that third absence that Sophie said the thing. They were on a video call. The connection was patchy. Carol's face kept freezing mid-sentence, and Sophie, tired and teenage and aching, said it flatly. You always leave, Mum. You always choose to leave us. Carol did not freeze the way the connection did. She stayed very still, and then she said quietly, I know it feels that way, love. It doesn't feel that way, Sophie said. It is that way. The call ended shortly after, not dramatically, just the ordinary painful ending of a conversation that has gone somewhere nobody intended. I said it because I meant it, Sophie wrote. And I said it because I was scared. And I said it because saying, I miss you so much it feels like something is actually missing from my chest, seemed too big and too embarrassing for a 14-year-old to admit. When Carol came home from that third tour, Sophie was 15 and barely speaking to her. They spent 2 weeks being polite and careful around each other, like 2 cats in a new flat who have not decided yet whether to be friends. It was Daniel who broke it. He was 12, gap-toothed no more, newly tall, and he came downstairs one morning to find Carol standing at the kitchen window again, hands around a mug, watching the sky. Mum, he said, why do you keep going? Carol turned around. She looked at him for a long moment. "Because somebody has to," she said. "And because I am good at it. And because I want you to grow up in a world where someone like me did." Daniel nodded slowly. Then he said, "Right, do we have any Weetabix?" Carol laughed before she finished her sentence. She always did when she was nervous or moved. It was hard to tell the difference. Sophie was 22 when she finally understood. She was sitting in the back garden of the old terraced house, the rose bush in bloom, a mug of tea going cold beside her, and she was reading about something Carol had done. Not in a newspaper. In a letter Carol had written to her, just a few lines, understated in the way Carol was always understated. "I helped bring 3 people home who might not have come home otherwise. I can't say more than that, but I wanted you to know." Sophie sat with that for a long time. "I thought about Patricia from the corner shop," Sophie wrote, "and her idea of what motherhood was supposed to look like. Constant presence, a warm body in a chair. And I thought about what you actually gave us, Mom. Not just Gran's fish fingers and the iron teetles, not just survival. You gave us proof that a woman can be more than one thing at once. That love is not the same as proximity. That leaving to do something hard and necessary is not the same as abandonment. It is just a different shape of staying. I called what you did abandonment when I was 14 because I did not have a better word. I have one now. I call it service. I call it sacrifice. I call it love in the form of a decision that cost you something every single day. I call it what it was, Mum, brave. Your chair at the kitchen table is still your chair. It always was. Come home and sit in it. Love always, Sophie." Carol read the letter at that same kitchen table, in that same Coventry terraced house, on a gray morning in March, with the kettle going and the rosebush just beginning its slow annual return to life. She laughed before she finished it, the way she always did when she was moved. "I have thought about that chair at the kitchen table a great deal since I first came across this story. The one nobody sat in, the one that always belonged to her anyway. Sometimes the people who love us most are the ones whose absence takes up the most room. And sometimes the bravest thing is not staying. Sometimes the bravest thing is trusting that your children will grow up and find the right word for what you did." If this story stayed with you, even just a little, please give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach people who need to hear stories like this one. Leave a comment and tell me, is there someone in your life whose kind of love took you a while to understand? Subscribe and follow so you never miss another story from Soul Relief Stories. We will see you in the next one.